A major development has emerged from the Tailhook Association's convention in Reno, Nevada, where the U.S. Navy has revealed a previously undisclosed air-to-air missile designated the AIM-424 Malice. The AIM-424 Long-Range Air-to-Air Missile, LRAAM, is already undergoing testing and is intended to equip several generations of U.S. Navy fighters. Planned platforms include the F-18EF Super Hornet, the F-35C Lightning II, and the Navy's future F/A-XX next-generation fighter. The Navy has also released imagery providing the first public look at the weapon. One photograph taken in April shows an F/A-18EF operated by Naval Air Test and Evaluation Squadron 23, carrying 4 of these missiles. A separate image shows the weapon integrated into the internal weapons bay of an F-35C. The missile's most striking advertised characteristic is its range of more than 250 nautical miles. That's more than 285 miles or about 465 kilometers. However, the significance of the AIM-424 extends well beyond that headline figure. Let's take a closer look at what is known about this new weapon and what it could mean for the U.S. Navy's future air combat capabilities. Before we proceed, a word on NordVPN, which is one of the most trusted and fastest VPN brand that has a no-log policy validated by Deloitte. NordVPN provides a 256-bit encrypted tunnel that protects your privacy and also enables you to access contents that are blocked based on geolocation. Its threat protection system helps you avoid phishing, scams, and malware. NordVPN application is available for all the major platforms as well as browsers. Get an exclusive NordVPN deal with massive saving by going to nordvpn.com/defense or clicking the link in the description. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The U.S. Navy describes AIM-424 as a next-generation missile intended to strengthen fleet defense and maintain a decisive air domain overmatch against advanced threats. Developed by Raytheon, it is powered by a solid-fuel rocket motor and has a reported length of 13.5 feet, a diameter of 13.5 inches, and an approximate launch weight of 1,500 pounds. The weapon is credited with a stated engagement range of more than 250 nautical miles and is equipped with a blast fragmentation warhead. For comparison, the latest AIM-120D AMRAAM is generally assessed to have an effective range of approximately 100 miles or 160 kilometers. If the published figures for the AIM-424 are accurate, Malice would therefore provide nearly 3 times the reach of the AMRAAM while retaining an air-launched configuration compatible with fighter aircraft. The AIM-260 Joint Advanced Tactical Missile is also being developed to provide a significant range advantage over the AMRAAM. However, because the missile's performance remains classified, reliable public estimates of its actual range are difficult to establish. Another important benchmark is the AIM-174B, a long-range air-launched missile deployed relatively recently on the F/A-18EF Super Hornet. Its potential range is widely assessed at roughly 250 miles or 400 kilometers, placing it in a similar long-range category. Clearly, the U.S. military is working towards extending engagement ranges in air-to-air warfare. The launch of China's PL-15 air-to-air missile in 2016 was a major catalyst in this regard. More recently, Pakistan's operational use of PL-15 series missiles and its deployment of Chinese-built J-10 fighters, both global firsts, garnered quite a bit of attention during a brief but intense clash with India. PL-15 has a range of 150 miles or 240 kilometers. The two most formidable Western air-to-air missiles, AIM-120D and Meteor, are outranged by this Chinese missile. U.S. Navy states LRAAM sustains the department's first look, first shot, first kill advantage by providing our aviators greater reach, greater survivability, and greater tactical flexibility in the air-to-air fight. Built for 4th, 5th, and 6th generation platforms, LRAAM is designed for the air wing of today and the future. China's PL-15 has become an important element of Beijing's effort to contest U.S. and allied air power, particularly across strategically important areas such as the Taiwan Strait and the South China Sea. In response, the United States has expanded its own long-range air-to-air capabilities by introducing the AIM-174B, an air-launched derivative of the SM-6 that has been integrated primarily with aircraft operating in the Indo-Pacific. However, the AIM-174B presents a significant integration challenge for stealth fighters. At approximately 4.7 meters, 15.5 feet, long and weighing more than 860 kilograms, 1,900 pounds, the weapon is too large to be carried internally by the F-22 or F-35. That makes the reported imagery of the AIM-424 installed inside an F-35C weapons bay particularly significant. Stealth aircraft are carefully shaped so that radar energy is reflected away from the transmitting radar rather than directly back toward the source. This is supported by features such as aligned edges, carefully controlled surface geometry, radar-absorbent materials, and minimized external discontinuities. Internal weapons carriage is fundamental to the survivability of fifth-generation fighters because it allows them to preserve their low observable characteristics. Carrying a large missile externally can increase the aircraft's radar cross-section and potentially undermine one of the primary advantages of a stealth platform. An externally mounted missile introduces several of those unwanted features. Its fins, control surfaces, seeker head, exhaust section, mounting hardware, and other exposed components can produce additional radar reflections. The weapon and its pylon can also create strong scattering points that are difficult to integrate into the aircraft's carefully optimized low observable geometry. If the AIM-424 can deliver the reported range while remaining compatible with the F-35C's internal weapons bay, it could provide the Navy with a capability it has previously lacked: a carrier-based stealth fighter capable of conducting very long-range air-to-air engagements without giving up the low observable configuration that is central to the F-35C's combat value. In modern aerial scenarios, BVR, beyond visual range, combat capabilities are critical. In this operational context, a weapon such as the AIM-424 Malice becomes particularly significant. The range enables the launching platform to engage targets without getting into the strike envelope of enemy fighters and even ground-based air defense. The missile should not necessarily be viewed as a weapon intended to engage a highly maneuverable fighter at its maximum stated range, but it certainly be able to take out high-value targets which are relatively large, less maneuverable aircraft. These include aerial refueling tankers, airborne early warning and control aircraft, intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance platforms, and other airborne command and control assets. Although these aircraft may not participate directly in air-to-air combat, they provide the infrastructure that allows modern fighter forces to operate effectively across vast distances. Targeting those support platforms can therefore have effects well beyond the destruction of an individual aircraft. With the F-35C, the combination could be particularly consequential. The aircraft brings together a low observable airframe, advanced onboard sensors and networking capabilities that allow it to build an understanding of the battle space from multiple sources. A long-range missile would add another layer to that architecture by allowing the fighter to engage targets at distances far beyond the visual range envelope traditionally associated with fighter combat. The concept is therefore not simply stealth plus a longer-range missile. It is a kill chain in which the F-35C could use its own sensors, information received from other platforms, or a combination of both to establish or contribute to a track, pass targeting information to the weapon, and prosecute an engagement while attempting to preserve its own low observable characteristics.